The moon hung heavy over Lakeview shores, its silver light glinting off the still water as I pulled up to the gate of my inherited lakefront ranch. It was 11:47 p.m., and after an 8-hour drive from Chicago, all I wanted was to unlock the house my grandmother, Clara Hensley, had left me and crash. But the moment my headlights swept across the Lakeview Shores HOA-regulated sign, trouble found me. A cluster of flashlights pierced the darkness, phone cameras rolling like I'd stumbled into a vigilante sting operation. Leading the charge was HOA President Laura Wentworth, her blonde hair pulled tight, her voice slicing through the night as she hissed into her phone, "We've got an intruder with a suspicious object." The crowd, 5 HOA members in matching jackets, closed in, their live stream already buzzing with dozens of viewers. They thought I was a criminal. But when I popped the trunk and opened my black leather briefcase, revealing a single sheet of paper, the air turned electric. Laura's smack froze, and the deputy who'd just arrived snapped to attention like he'd seen a governor's pardon. Whatever I held, it was enough to shut down their midnight tribunal. This wasn't over, it was just the beginning. I'm Nathan Carter, a software engineer with a knack for staying calm under pressure, but losing my wife, Emily, 2 years ago had left me paranoid about holding on to what mattered. That briefcase, handed to me by Grandma Clara in her final days, was my anchor. "Only open it when you have no choice, Nathan," she'd whispered, her frail hand gripping mine with surprising strength. She hadn't warned me that pulling into her lake house would feel like walking into a trap. The dashboard clock ticked as I video-called my 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, back in Chicago. Her sleepy face lit up the screen, hair tangled from her pillow. "Daddy, you safe?" she mumbled. "Yeah, sweetheart," I said, glancing at the lake Emily had loved. "Tomorrow, we'll start our new life here." Sophie blew a kiss and hung up. I grabbed the briefcase, its weight a reminder of Clara's cryptic words, "Sometimes the most powerful weapons look ordinary." Stepping out, I faced Laura's HOA posse, their phones turning my arrival into a social media spectacle. "This is Laura Wentworth, HOA President," she announced to her live stream, now at 91 viewers. "We are witnessing a break-in at 42 Lakeside Drive." Her tone dripped with authority, honed from years of terrorizing neighbors over mailbox callers. "Ma'am, there's a misunderstanding," I tried, but she waved me off, zeroing in on the briefcase. "We don't allow unauthorized vehicles after 10 p.m., she snapped, especially not suspicious individuals with unknown objects. Her eyes gleamed with something beyond HOA zeal, fear, maybe, of what I might know. The crowd tightened around my car, a body man with a security committee pin demanding I open the case for community safety. Laura's stream hit 156 viewers, comments egging her on with fire emojis. She wasn't just enforcing rules, she was staging a public execution of my reputation. My hand shook as I clicked the briefcase open, the sound deafening in the tense silence. Laura leaned forward, her confidence wavering. Inside was a single letter, written in Clara's elegant cursive, addressed to the Clearwater County Sheriff's Department, sealed with a red wax emblem. I handed it to Deputy Sullivan, who'd arrived after Laura's 911 call. His eyes scanned the page, and he straightened like he'd been saluted. The letter, on unofficial letterhead from the Environmental Prosecutor's Office, declared me, Nathan Carter, Clara's heir, with full authority to enforce an environmental protection agreement over Lakeview Shores. A signature and official stamp made Sullivan step back. "Ma'am, end the live stream," he ordered Laura. "This man has every right to be here." Laura's phone trembled, her audience turning on her with comments like, "Why are you harassing him?" Her 200 viewers watched her narrative crumble as she stammered, "This is a setup." But the letter wasn't just a legal shield, it was a grenade, and I just pulled the pin. Clara hadn't been a retired clerk, as she'd let me believe. She was an environmental prosecutor who'd spent decades battling corporations that poison rivers and bury toxins in backyards. Her love for this lake, her lessons about its ecosystem during my childhood visits, weren't just sentimental, they were training. She'd been grooming me to protect it. The next morning, Sophie's video call brought a flicker of peace. "Daddy, do you see Mommy there?" she asked, eyeing the lake through my kitchen window. I choked up, remembering Emily's dream of raising Sophie here, away from Chicago's concrete. But stepping outside shattered that calm. A new chain-link fence cut off my path to the lake, bristling with environmental protection zone signs and cameras angled not at the house, but at the water. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. Neighbors were no help. Mrs. Larson, who once shared tomatoes, fled when I approached, whispering, "Be careful about the lake, Nathan." Others dodged me with rehearsed excuses. Then came Diane Foster, a no-nonsense real estate attorney in her 60s who'd known Clara better than anyone. Over coffee on my porch, she eyed the fence. "Clara said wolves were circling this property," Diane said, her voice sharp. I thought she meant metaphorically. She helped me dig deeper into the briefcase, finding a hidden leather journal. Clara's final entry, dated 3 weeks before her death, chilled me. If Nathan's reading this, they've started their plan. The fence, the cameras, the intimidation, it's all to hide something darker. A cryptic code followed, which Diane recognized as a bank safety deposit box combination. We took Diane's motorboat to investigate the lake. Near the fence offshore, the water shimmered with a chemical sheen, and Diane's pH kit confirmed high acidity, proof of recent dumping. Her sonar pinned a rectangular object buried in the lake bed, man-made, the size of a car. Laura watched from the opposite bank, filming us with a high-end camera, joined by a tall man in a suit. "That's Victor Grayson," Diane whispered. "Real estate developer. He's been after this shoreline for years." The predator in his stance made my skin crawl. Back on land, Laura escalated her attack, hosting a live-streamed HOA meeting, branding me an environmental threat with a shady expert at her side. Her 800 viewers lapped it up, but Sophie's words during our call stopped me from retreating. "Great-grandma never gave up, Daddy. She fought for what's right." Clara's stories of battling polluters echoed in my mind, urging me forward. At First National Bank, the manager, Ellen Pierce, led me to Clara's safety deposit box. Inside were a cassette tape labeled insurance policy, a digital recorder, and a brass key tagged boathouse emergency use only. The tape was a bombshell, Victor's voice, cold and calculated, discussing a whistleblower, Tom Riley, who tested the lake's water. "He's got samples," Victor said. "If he goes to the EPA, we're done." Laura's whisper followed, "What do we do about Tom?" Victor's chilling reply, "Accidents happen on lakes." The recorder held newer clips, including Laura 2 weeks ago, panicking, "What if Nathan finds out about Tom?" Victor's response was a threat, "We'll make sure he doesn't become a problem." Clara had evidence of murder and conspiracy, and she'd left it for me. I fought back with a live stream, the truth about Lakeview Shores, from Clara's kitchen. With Diane beside me, I played the tape to 5,000 viewers, then 25,000, as Victor's confession sparked outrage. Comments flooded in, "Call the EPA." Deputy Sullivan joined, revealing Clara's work with the Department of Justice's Environmental Division. "We've been building a case," he said. "This confirms it." Victor stormed my property, pounding on the door, unaware my stream was rolling with 45,000 viewers. "Stop this charade," he roared, confessing to Tom's murder. The FBI swooped in, arresting him for conspiracy, environmental crimes, and murder, live on camera. Laura's stream collapsed, her viewers abandoning her. Then, in a twist, she appeared at my door, broken, asking to come in. With 80,000 watching, she confessed, Victor had threatened her son, Caleb, forcing her to cover up Tom's murder and the lake's poisoning. Tears streaming, she said, "I'm going to prison, but maybe this stops the suffering." She handed me a brass key, identical to Clara's, for a storage container at the boat launch holding Tom's research. I read from Clara's journal, Laura's a victim, trapped by Victor. Help her, Nathan. I forgave her, hugging her as the chat erupted with support. This is real forgiveness, one wrote. Diane and I raced to the container, finding Tom's water samples, photos of illegal dumping, and a journal. His final entry vowed to expose Victor, but a note about Emily's crash stopped me cold. Her brakes were tampered with, days before her EPA testimony. Victor had killed her, too. Grief hit like a tidal wave, but Clara had known, building this case for both Tom and Emily. At the boat launch, Victor appeared, gun in hand, screaming, "That evidence dies with you." My stream, now at 150,000, cut his confession to both murders. The FBI closed in, arresting him for good. 6 months later, Sophie planted sunflowers where Clara's roses once grew, unearthing a letter, "Protect what's beautiful, Nathan and Sophie." Love is the strongest weapon. The lake, cleansed with Victor's seized assets, sparkled again. Laura, in witness protection, called from Oregon, rebuilding with Caleb. The property became an environmental education center, Emily's dream alive. My stream reached 2 million, igniting debates on corporate greed and justice. Clara's plan exposing evil, saving victims, healing a community worked. As Sophie played by the clean water, I knew Emily and Tom's deaths weren't in vain. Some fights are worth everything, because a world where greed silences good people isn't a world worth living in.